a nice little record of your response, just for your office, you know. I'm a
Patrick asked me to remind.
And here at the Lotus Settlement, yep. I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Here.
Andrew Johnson.
Here.
Quincy.
Here.
Warsame is absent. Goodman is absent. Fry.
Here.
Palmisano.
Here.
Gordon.
Here.
Kano.
Here.
Reich.
Here.
Bender.
Here.
Glidden.
Here.
President Johnson.
Here.
There are 11 members present.
We have a quorum present. I would just say that Councilmember Goodman and Councilmember Warsame are today working on city business lawsuit settlement conference, so they won't be joining us today. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion on that? Any changes or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have acceptance of the minutes of the adjourned session held December 11th, 2013, the regular meeting of December 13th, 2013, and the organizational meeting of January 6th, 2014. Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries. Referral of petitions and communications and reports to the city officers to proper committees and departments is next. Is there a motion to refer?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries. Next item on our agenda is the Committee of the Whole report, and that committee report will be given by the Council Vice President Elizabeth Glidden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have one item of business. It's a staff direction to continue coordination of the Ryan Downtown East Development Urban Park with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board over the development, ownership, and operation of the urban park connected to the Ryan Downtown East Development, with the Deputy Director of Community Planning and Economic Development directed to form a work group to facilitate this coordination with representatives of the Park Board, and I would move this item.
Councilmember Glidden has moved the Committee of the Whole report. Anyone want to pull it off? Any discussion on that item? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Community Development and Regulatory Services report with that committee's Vice Chair, Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We just have 4 items. First, it was the approval of several liquor and business licenses. Second was passage of a resolution approving operating conditions for Skyline Foods. The third was a general financing mechanism for High Lake Triangle Apartments, where the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation was placed as the credit enhancer. And then the final was the approval of several applications to the Department of Employment and Economic Development for additional funding. Any questions? Nope. Well, I move approval of all 4 items.
Councilmember Fry has moved the Community Development and Regulatory Services report. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Election and Rules Committee, also chaired by Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, it was just a passage of a resolution that was approving a revision of the council rules for the new session here. and I move approval of this single item.
Councilmember Fry has moved the election rules report. Any discussion on that item? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Report with Councilmember Gordon as chair.
Thank you very much, Madam President. The Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee is bringing 2 items forward for approval. The first is to confirm the mayoral appointment of Russ Henry and approve the City Council appointment of Gilia Bovino to the Homegrown Minneapolis Food Council for terms to expire December 31st, 2015. And the second item is to authorize a contract with Tubman in the amount of $75,000 to provide case management services in 2014 for youth who are at risk for involvement with violence. I will move both items forward for approval.
Councilmember Gordon has moved the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Report. Anyone want to pull anything off or any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Committee, chaired by Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Oh.
We have 3 items. The first 2 items, my microphone seems to not be working very well. First 2 items are acceptance of grant funds of $30,000 each, one from the General Mills grant and one from the Joyce Foundation. And the third item is to accept proposal and authorize contract with Hennepin Technical College for training services for cadet and recruit training. And I move for approval of all items.
Councilmember Yang has moved the entire Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Report. Anyone want to pull anything off or discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Transportation and Public Works Report with that committee's chair, Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam President. The Transportation and Public Works Committee forwards 8 items today. The first being 51st Avenue North Street Resurfacing Project, which will go from Xerxes Avenue North to Oliver Avenue North. The passage of resolution designating the location of the improvements proposed for the project and receive cost estimate, direct the city engineer to prepare proposed special assessments against the benefited properties, and set a public hearing to be held on February 25th, 2014. Item 2 is passage of resolution designating the location and improvements proposed to be made for the project at Penn Avenue South Street Reconstruction Project, Phase 2. Receive the cost estimate, direct the city engineer to prepare the proposed special assessments against the benefited properties, and set a public hearing to be held on March 18th, 2014. Item 3 regards the Riverside Extension Street Reconstruction Project, also to pass a resolution designating the location of the improvements proposed to be made, receive a cost estimate, direct the city engineer to prepare the proposed special assessments against the benefited properties, and set the hearing to be held on March 18th, 2014. Item 4 regards the waste disposal service contract, authorize negotiation and execution of the renewal of a contract with Hennepin County for the processing and disposal of municipal solid waste collected in Minneapolis through December 31st, 2015 at a rate of $49 per ton. Item 5 regards the South Transfer Station, authorize the issuance of requests for proposals for management and operation of the services for the Minneapolis South Transfer Station. And the following items are referred reports to the Ways and Means Committee. The first being MRI contract amendment, authorize an extension of the terms of the contract between MRI, also known as Minneapolis Refuse Incorporated, and the city to allow the city-owned Packer truck rental to MRI at the current rate of $2,300 per truck. Item 7 is the Transportation Alternatives Program and Safe Routes to School submission. Passage passage of a resolution authorizing the submission of a series of applications for transportation funds through the Transportation Alternative Program, known as TAP, and MnDOT Safe Routes to School program, and authorizing commitment of local funds per federal requirement to support and maintain approved projects. The final item are a series of bids. The first is accept low bid of ADS LLC to furnish closed circuit inspection of the city's storm drain sewer system. The following, accept low bid of Vite and Company Incorporated for the disposal and hauling of fill and asphalt millings for the Transportation Division. And the final bid is to accept the low bid of Rachel Contracting Incorporated for the Blue Water Partnership Pond Dredging Project Phase 2. We forward all 8 items for approval, Madam Chair.
Councilmember Reich has moved the Transportation and Public Works report. Anyone want to pull anything off or any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Ways and Means report with Councilmember Quincy, the chair of that committee.
Thank you, Madam President. Ways and Means will bring forward 12 items today. Excuse me. The first item are 2 legal settlements, one with Lacey Brown versus the city for $6,528, one with Goff Holdings LLC versus the city for $8,000. The second item is a conflict of interest waiver for legal services. Third item is a utility billing insert for our city trees program. The fourth item is a donation of public service announcement broadcast time with Comcast Cable. The fifth item is the donation of digital billboard display time with from Clear Channel Outdoor. Sixth item is the Creative City Challenge Art Competition, executing 5 one-year contracts with northernlights.mn. The seventh item is the John Biggers Seed Project. There are 2 grant awards being accepted, one with the National Endowment for Arts Our Town program and a $100,000 grant with McKnight Foundation's Region and Communities program. And, excuse me, the eighth item is the Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging accepting a mini grant of $8,000 for work with the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department for our Minneapolis for a Lifetime initiative. The ninth item is the barge mooring on the Upper River, negotiating and executing a new 2-year lease with Aggregate Industries. The 10th item is the fire stations 5 and 7 remodeling services with Bloom Engineers and Associates. Increase the amount by $10,000 to provide engineering services for the remodeling of those stations. The next item is the Human Resources Information System, executing all contract documents with Advanced Digital Systems for an upgrade to our HRIS system for a 1 year not to exceed $350,000 and an option to renew for an additional year, including a staff direction at the next cycle of the Committee of the Whole to present an overall program plan and update on the program to upgrade the city's enterprise resource planning system and a status update on the ERP program to be presented at the Committee of the Whole in 6 months. And the final item is a 2 resolutions approving collective bargaining agreements with the Trades Unit, Minneapolis Building and Construction Trades Council, 2-year agreement. And the final is the AFSCME Local 9 Attorney Unit for a 24-month agreement. With that, I'm happy to move all 12 items for Ways and Means.
Councilmember Quincy has moved the entire Ways and Means report. Anyone want to pull anything off? Excuse me. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Zoning and Planning report with that committee's chair, Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam President. We have 3 items from zoning and planning. The first is an ordinance to amend the zoning code to rezone a property at 4525 France Avenue from C1 to R5. The second is a passage of an ordinance amending the zoning code to add TP transitional parking overlay to an existing R2B district at the Solar Arts Building to allow that to be used as a meeting hall. And the third is for the National Marrow Donor Program headquarters at 524 5th Street North. We're recommending denial of an appeal filed that would have allowed a sign to be exceed our sign controls. So we are recommending denial of that appeal. Thank you.
Councilmember Bender.
So I'll move
Sorry.
all 3
All
items
right.
of the agenda.
Councilmember Bender has moved the zoning and planning report. Anyone want to pull anything off or any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have resolutions, and the first is an honorary resolution. It's passage of a resolution declaring February 7th, 2014 to be National Wear Red Day in Minneapolis. And that resolution is in your packets or in your folders. Any discussion on that resolution? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next are motions, and the first is a motion by Councilmember Quincy that regular payrolls of city employees under council jurisdiction for the month of February 2014 be approved and ordered paid. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have a motion by myself to establish an audit work group for the purpose of considering the ordinance which established the internal audit function and audit committee in the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances, and we are going to examine best practices, alternative structures or models, and report to the City Council with a recommended course of action. And the committee will be chaired, the audit work group will be chaired by Councilmember Palmisano, Chair of the Audit Committee, and it will include myself, Council Vice President Glidden, Councilmember Quincy, Chair of the Ways and Means Committee, Councilmember Alondra Cano, Audit Committee member Mark Oyas, Audit Committee member, and a representative, we got a duplicate Audit Committee. Councilmember Kano is a member of the Audit Committee, that's correct, okay. And a representative from the following: the Mayor's Office, City Attorney's Office, City Coordinator's Office, and City Clerk's Office. Any discussion on that motion? Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I appreciate this coming forward. I think it's a great opportunity for us to look at the audit committee again and look at how that function works. I know that we're in some transition because we lost our auditor recently. The comment that I wanted to make, and I did make this to Councilmember Palmisano, I think it's important that we work with the Board of Estimate and Taxation and maybe the new president, David Wheeler, of that, or the chair, and just be in communications and work with them. I first thought, well, might be nice to have somebody from there on the work group, but that's fine if they aren't, as long as there's some kind of communication and cooperation. And I understand that's the plan.
Councilmember Palmisano, did you want to respond?
Sure. I fully plan to include the Board of Estimate and Taxation in the work group sessions to invite them to come and participate. I have had one-on-one conversations so far with Board of Estimate and Taxation elected official Carol Becker.
Great. Thank you. Councilmember Yang.
Just a quick question here with regards to the following representatives from the Mayor's Office, City Attorney's Office, City Coordinator's Office, and City Clerk's Office. Are those representatives, or are those new appointments?
They would be staff designated to participate in the work group. They aren't members of the audit committee itself. They're staff support. Staff support. And the mayor's office, a representative, the mayor's office helped in drafting the original ordinance. So I think it makes sense to have them on the table. Councilmember Gordon?
There was just one other thing I wanted to add. I also noted with all the council members on here and understand that these meetings will have to be noticed and they
Yes.
will be public. So actually, any council member could attend and listen, or anybody from the public will have an opportunity. And I think that's just a fantastic way to do it. Keep it very open. I don't think we'll have tons of people showing up for this kind of discussion, but we might have some people who are very interested, and then they can watch and follow it. And I think that's good.
I agree. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Under new business, I'm giving notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code related to housing, amending requirements applicable to holders of rental dwelling licenses to include a duty to attend certain meetings. So at the request of city staff, a rental license holder would be required to come into a meeting. So that ordinance will be in front of you at the next meeting. That notice is given, or that introduction will be available at the next meeting. Next item is a notice of intent by Councilmember Gordon to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code related to housing and the maintenance code, amending provisions related to tenant notification of environmental contamination and associated activities. That notice is given. Councilmember Gordon also gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to liquor and beer, increasing the maximum number of temporary expansion licenses a licensee is eligible to receive each year. That notice is given. This is the part of our agenda that if anyone has any announcements about a community event or things of particular interest in your ward, you're welcome to do so. So I see Councilmember Gordon.
Actually, I just wanted to comment on the last notice of
Okay.
intent.
Okay, why don't you go ahead?
And just to be clear, that the reason why this is coming forward, sometimes issues of liquor and expansion of premises, they can be pretty significant and noteworthy, and I didn't want anybody to panic too much, at least to understand why I'm doing this. It is because the Vikings games are going to be moving to TCF Stadium. And right now, there's a number of the bar owners there that like to expand their operations for the Gopher games that are going on there. And now they're looking at how can they maximize when the Vikings are there. And right now, they couldn't actually do this as many times as there would be games going on. So we're trying to look at improving that there. Right now, it is a citywide ordinance, and it may be, but if people have problems with it, we can also limit the expansions to a certain geographic area, which we've done in the past. And I'm happy to talk to people as it moves forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam President. I wish to let people know that Hale Page Diamond Lake Neighborhood Association will be celebrating this cold winter for the 18th time with their annual Frost Fest this Friday, January 24th from 6 to 9 at Pearl Park.
Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Seeing none, motion to adjourn is in order, and it's a motion to adjourn to a closed session in room 315 for the purpose of discussing the matter of Leanne Stearns and Siobhan Mullen versus City of Minneapolis. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay. All in approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.